call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. You all now have a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no changes or discussion, a motion would be in order to approve those as submitted in your packets.
Make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Treasurer's report, I think Glenna has that, plus her quarterlies today.
I handed out the report. This is actually the quarterly report through 9/30/2013. Our total fund balance on 9/30/2013 is $6,766,527.07. Our general fund revenues at this point, we're a quarter of the way through the year. Our general fund revenues are 41.1%, and our expenditures are at 17.6%. Our road fund revenues are at 53.9%, and our expenditures are at 17.2%. Our jail fund revenues are at 28.6%, and our expenditures are at 26.9%. Our revenues for our CSEP fund is at 9.5%, and our expenditures are at 5.7%. And the 911 fund, our revenues are at 28.8%, and our expenditures are at 23.6%. So everyone's running a little bit under. Jail is right there at 20. It's at 26.9.
Any questions for Glenna? Like all the departments are doing very well, staying under what they should be, and everybody's in good financial condition. Okay, at this time, we'll go into order of business. First off, and we're very, very glad to have this particular group here with us, or representatives of this large group, it's Retired Teachers Week, and we've got a proclamation to do, and I've got a few notes, but I'd like to ask Susan Taylor. Is Susan here? Did she show up? Oh, okay. Well, would anybody like to come up and just say a few words, and then, or I can do it all if you want.
Oh, don't be bashful. Come on.
Judge, this is Joyce Moser. For real.
Hello, Joyce. I know Joyce.
I was just poked into representing the group. We have a large group of retired teachers, probably one of the largest in the state, exceeded only by Jefferson County and Fayette County. We have various bits of experience. We all loved our teaching years, but we're happy to not be teaching now. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. It's interesting. I used to speak to this group. The last time I spoke, we were at the restaurant in Estill County. I came up, and Senator Worley came with me, and it was just a huge group, and that's been a long time ago. But it's really interesting, and you all get involved so much in so many things. And I just had a few notes, and then I'd like to do the proclamation, is that the Madison County Retired Teachers Association and the EKU Retired Association have a combined total of 13,000 hours of volunteer service to our community already this year. 90% of the retired teachers choose to remain in Kentucky, and 98.6% of their retirement funds go back into the state economy, and that is huge. And on behalf of not only in Madison County but the whole state, we really appreciate it. We do. Now I'd like to do the proclamation, and we try to do this on a yearly basis. Whereas Madison County retired teachers have devoted their careers to the education and training of literally thousands of Kentucky youths, whereas Madison County's retired teachers have retained and or provided primary educational opportunities to hundreds of adults in the state who for one reason or other have fallen behind in the formal education needed for job and skilled labor, whereas Madison County's retired teachers rendered valuable service in diverse leadership roles in their community and institutions throughout their career and they continue to render such services as retirees, Whereas Madison County's retired teachers represent the profession which is given the basic responsibility for launching the careers of state and national leasers and for laying foundation for the welfare of all members of our society. Whereas Madison County's retired teachers have toiled carelessly to improve the quality of life in the state and in the nation, too often in less than adequate circumstances and for less than adequate pay. Whereas Madison County's retired teachers represent a tremendous pool of experience and training which remains dedicated to the betterment of society everywhere. Retired teachers have contributed over 5,000 hours of volunteer service and serve on a large number of boards and committees within our community. And whereas Madison County's retired teachers represent a loyal, patriotic, and concerned citizenry which provides a dedicated and dependable support to the leaders in our communities, our state, and our nation. Now, therefore, I, Kent Clark, Madison County Judge Executive, and the Madison County Fiscal Court do proclaim October 21st through 27th, 2013 as Retired Teachers Week. And this is done in Madison County, October 22nd, in the year of our Lord, 2013. Again, thank you all so much. We appreciate you. And Joyce, I will present this to you, and you can have it, and maybe congratulations. And
Thank you.
again, thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And don't be surprised if we ask you to speak. in
I'll be glad
upcoming-
to.
Upcoming meeting.
Just
Thank
call
you.
call any time.
I'm glad he didn't ask you to talk about any former kids, because some sitting here could be there.
I was just looking out there and seeing several that taught me when I was there.
Now, as I always do, I'm sure that you all might have something else to do today, but you're welcome to stay for the court meeting. It shouldn't be too long, but if you need to, our feelings wouldn't be hurt if you needed to leave for something else. So it's whatever you decide to do. We're glad to have you, though. If you'd like to stay, we love it.
But you might miss a pretty good show.
I heard the bagel ring.
See ya.
See you, Ken.
Usually I'm not ever in this position where I get recognized.
Okay, next on the agenda is Resolution 1310, and this is the 10 mineral counties that depend so much on coal. And we got this from the coal severance and the magistrates and the Judges Association, and just felt like we could do our part. I mean, we don't have coal here, but or particular minerals, but just in show of support and send this in, they're asking all counties to do it in the state. So whereas mineral severance tax is an important revenue stream for the Commonwealth and as well as many counties, and whereas mineral severance tax is shared with the mineral producing counties of the Commonwealth through the Local Government Economic Assistance Fund, whereas any disruption of this revenue will put many counties into positions of economic distress to the point of cutting vital services or raising revenue by other means, and whereas in recent legislative sessions, legislation has been introduced to change the various parts of the mineral severance tax statutes which would have negatively affected the state and county revenue, possibly eliminating it in some circumstances. Now therefore it be resolved by the mineral producing counties, the Kentucky General Assembly resist any changes to the mineral severance tax and support to continue as it currently is structured, unanimously adopted on, this was the second day of October when they did that, but they're asking us on behalf of the Madison County Fiscal Court to support their resolution. Has anybody got a problem with it? If not, then I would ask a motion to approve Resolution 1309.
So
Supported.
Second?
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes? Yes. Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Okay, next, detention center policy and procedure update. Doug, if you want to come up, and This is something Doug has been constantly working with, and I'll let him explain a little bit, with the Department of Corrections, DOC, and he's having some of his people get instructed on how to get them up to date and keep them up to date on everything, all these requirements and new regulations that are coming down from DOC. And Doug, again, is trying to update some of his policies and procedures. Doug?
Yeah, it's just like I said, Judge, an update in our policy and procedure. It's a critical incident in crime scene investigations, and well, Mark has been through this and agrees with it also. It is just, if a critical incident occurs in our facility over there, that I want my officers, which is Captain Tom Jones and Captain Greg Johnson, been through the training with Department of Corrections for this investigations. So when something happens over there, we don't want to rely on an outside source, which we have to do, is calling an outside source to come in, agency, to investigate. But we want to do our own investigation also. And again, the Department of Corrections recommends that you do these. They have to do this. They recommend it. So I sent 2 officers for CSI training, those 2. So if something were to occur, that I would have a couple officers that are on call, even if they're off duty, to come in and do what they're trained to do here with this investigation. And what it amounts to is critical, incident logs and who enters in an area, who went into that area. So that's something that we're, this policy is about here, put in our policy and procedure.
If something did happen, a big crime scene or something, would it be our best interest as we're doing this, for him to have somebody there or have somebody outside come in to check it first? If it's...
Well, you got to have, if there's a death occurs, you have to have an outside agency come in. Am I correct in saying this? And do that investigation. But we don't want to rely on just an outside agency to come in and do that investigation. We need to do our part also. Log down who entered the area, who came out of the area. We need to cover ourselves also. So that's the reason that I sent 2 officers to be trained with the Department of Corrections to do what we need to do also is not just rely on someone to do it all for us, which we have to call them people in, state police. We call them in for them to do the investigation, but we need to do our part also.
So you're not eliminating somebody else from coming in?
No, we're not eliminating. We can't eliminate anybody.
Changing the process by what you do?
No, we're not. We can't eliminate anybody. Right. We still will call the state police. We have something like that occurs. But again, we need to do our paperwork. Again, if somebody walks in that area, we need to log down who walked in it and who did and things like that. Yeah, we're not eliminating no one.
Okay, any other questions for Doug?
Well, that would be a written report then, right?
Written reports, critical incident logs, the incident itself, the crime scene. Then you got investigators coming in and do it, which is Tom Jones and Greg Johnson.
Well, I don't have no problem with it, and I think it's probably a good idea, but I'd like to add a few more words to it, that when something like that does occur, God forbid it don't, but if it does, that this court is notified instead of finding something out on the streets, what I'm saying.
What are we talking about?
Well, if you write up the incident report, I think this court should be aware of it, and we should get a copy of it.
Okay.
If that's, what do y'all say?
Yeah.
Well, now, it depends upon the circumstances, because some of this may very well be involved in a criminal investigation, and if so, that information should not be released at a public forum at some particular times.
I didn't mean a public forum. I just said we should know.
Well, I'm sure, Doug, you'd be willing to contact.
Sure. Oh, yeah. That's not a problem.
That's all. I mean, no.
Yeah, I think you all need to know also.
That's fine.
Okay. No more questions. Motion to approve update of Madison County Detention Center Policy and Procedure Manual. It's submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Next is Leroy. Yep.
I have one person recommend the court to hire Dwayne Garrett, big truck driver, and he does have his CDL license.
On his recommendation, so move.
Second.
Is there any question, is there any more applicants that's put in for it that's been local? No, this is from Creighton. Kentucky.
He's moving here. He's
moved
registered
here.
from here to start with. He's coming back.
Oh, okay.
He lives at Big Hill. He's a good Big Hillian, I guess. I don't know him.
Just thought that'd be a long drive.
Big Hillian.
Right now, you can't be too particular who you're gonna get anyway with CDL license.
Yeah, we can't find
Hard to
him.
get and hard to keep.
That's what I was going to ask you, how much luck are you having finding good workers?
Well, not too good, and I've had 6 to quit this summer, go other places.
Yeah.
2 went to factories, 1 went to Allen, and 1 went to R.J. McCormick, and of course, 1 went out on disability.
6 in one
See, we
summer.
might need a few this winter.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to replace that experience. I mean,
It is.
it's-
And everybody, a lot of them, I've got 2 down there right now is getting their permits. I mean, they're gonna be greenhorns out there driving, it's tough. And I've still got 2 or 3 greenhorns from last year, just drove 1 season.
Yeah, we didn't have no snow last year.
Mm-mm. So if you get a bad one, I mean, it's gonna be pretty tough. You can't keep drivers. So
I still
don't,
think it
I really
would.
don't care what county they're from, as long as they got experience and got license.
I really think it's a good idea that the court, each member get their CDLs, because I'm sure he's gonna need us.
Have you got yours?
I can get them. I don't think Leroy would want me to drive, but I can get them. You do a good job, Leroy.
we got a motion.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes, thanks, Leroy.
Insurance ready to go up?
Yeah, I guarantee it.
All right, next on the agenda is award bids on the portable radio subscriber units. Carl, I think all that material's in front of you all.
Gave you the spreadsheet, the little front sheet shows you what we're looking at there. I noticed we had this done and sent to us this morning by Mission Critical through FEMA. They did all the evaluations because the bids were kind of complex. They have a typo in that front line. They got AMR, it's AMK services. I didn't notice it until after I got here. If you look at the pricing, $25.63 versus $25.05 per unit. We're looking at buying in excess of 100 of these units for fire and possibly EMS. The Motorola radios that were bid by RCS weren't the radio we asked for. And as you can see, when you look through the attached sheets, RCS wasn't compliant with a lot of the bid spec. There was 7 areas where they didn't comply with the bid spec at all. There's another thing that's not able to be put on the paper is if we went with the Motorola radios, all the current battery chargers, batteries, lapel mics, holders, things like that, training that we have on the radios would not be relevant because these won't accept our old chargers, our old batteries, our old lapel mics, and all those things cost money. So the 2505 is kind of deceiving. It's not the fire grade radio, first of all, and it doesn't have any of the pertinences that will work with ours. So it looks cheaper on paper, but it actually costs us far more. And they also didn't quote the encryption key, which you have to have, and the programming cable and programming software. So it looks like it's cheaper, but it's really not. The cheaper deal for us is to go with the AMK services, the Harris radios. They quoted the radio. We're interested in a fire service radio, and we know that product. We got a demo. We know how it works. We didn't get a demo from Motorola. So I'd like permission to go ahead and award to AMK Services to get these radios for fire and then EMS eventually.
What is the warranty on those, Carl?
Typically, you got 1 year, bumper to bumper, so to speak, and then you got 2 years on certain other parts. But we've got warranty now in place on the system, which also includes the radios out to 2019. So we locked it in that way. We could get a better price when we bid the original radio system. We bid it out for over 10 years of maintenance. So we had a price locked in, tied to the consumer price index, maximum inflation of 3%.
As always, excellent, Carl. No further questions. Upon Carl and his staff's recommendation, let me give AMK Services, the Harris Radios, the bid for the 800 megahertz.
Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Carl. Next is Resolution 1309, and this is to approve the CAECO lease agreement, and this is with the Sheriff's Department. Reason we're running a little bit late is they had put this together wrong. They'd wanted to do a bond, and we didn't want to do a bond, so we're going back and just using the cars as collateral, and cut a whole lot of paperwork out, stacks and stacks of paperwork. So that's the delay. But really, all we're asking is I'm asking for permission from you all to authorize me to sign the leases for the financing of the new cars for the Sheriff's Department.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Next is appointment to the Southern Water Board, and we have a vacancy there. So, I've had several people inquire about it. One particularly really didn't inquire. I inquired to him, as that's Ron DeVere, and of course we're all very familiar with Ron. And I just kind of looked at the particulars, and that's a $1 million operation down there. Ronnie worked for 20-something years managing a $2 to $3 million budget with up to 35 employees, and he's got the experience, and we all know that he pinches pennies. So I think that's good, watching with good stewardship with the board. So I think Ronnie would be an excellent addition to the Madison County Water Board, Southern Madison Water Board. This time I'd like your permission to appoint him.
So moved.
Second.
And I'd like to thank Mike for his service. The water company's in good shape. I talk to them at least monthly, but they're in good financial shape and one of the top 3 in the country. And I want to thank you for your service and holding it where it's at.
Thank you, and I appreciate you all letting me serve on the board. Thank you.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Not on there, but I've got just a few updates here. It's Trick or Treat will be October 31st from 6 to 8, and that's along with both cities, City of Richmond and Berea. The Halloween Hoedown will be October 31st, and they're going to do it around the courthouse and around the streets around the courthouse. And it's just a huge activity for the kids. I mean, there'll be probably thousands of kids up here, so it'll be exciting. The Farm City Bank was Extension Office November 4th at 6 o'clock. And the White House Shrine Road, which we had discretionary money for, is finished. And the Wilderness Trail Road is under construction at the present time. So that's really all I had. We'll go to comments from department heads. Anybody got anything? Dwayne?
Copy of just a third quarter report, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on from a construction standpoint in the county. Last year's annual report, I gave you a comparison over the last 10 years, so I simplified this one and just compared to where we were last year. We know over the last 10 years, it's no secret we're down from where we were, especially in 04 and 05, but 2012, the total estimated construction cost for all purposes in the county was a little over $20 million. And for the same time period for 2013 is about $18.5 million. So we're down a little bit from last year. You'll see if you break the numbers down, we're pretty much maintaining our own with new single-family dwellings. Both years right at $15 million worth of new single-family dwellings being constructed, and then it breaks out from there. One of the big surprises probably was manufactured homes. They're down to 600,000. Usually we're up over 2 million, but a lot of the manufactured housing financing, and a lot of the manufactured housing dealers have just, there's not much activity in that end in the county anymore. But you can see how the rest of it breaks apart as far as what permits for what purposes. Looks like the only other big ticket item on there is just your accessory structures. What we typically see is when they quit building new houses, people decide to be content where they are, and they either finish out their basement or build that detached garage or new deck or whatever they're doing. They fix up where they are and be determined they're going to stay where they are for a while. So that's typically the trend, and that's what we see here again. So if you have any questions on this, I'd be glad to answer them.
On that manufactured housing, do you think that's a statewide phenomenon, or is that Madison County? I mean,
Now, I think it's statewide. From what I understand, a lot of the manufactured home dealers, the new dealers, a lot of them shut down, went out of business because of the way the mortgages were being bought up for them. They hit the same crisis that the housing market did. And it's just, it appears to be almost a nationwide issue.
Dwayne, really, the one out at exit 97 and then Clayton, is that the only two we've got in Madison County now?
Mm-hmm. And the one at 97, all they've got are repos. Those are all just repo homes. As far as I know, Clayton's is the only new manufactured home dealer in the county. We get most of them that come in, they either come from Clayton's here or Clayton's in London or George Humfleet Homes down toward the London area. Those are where the bulk of as far as new homes, that's where they come from.
They got Duck Dynasty out here on this end. Be careful, I mean, they go a long way. Jack?
Thanks, Dwayne.
All right, thank you.
Any other department heads?
Yeah, I'd like to remind everybody, Judge, that Bree office is going under a remodel right now, but we are open in the basement, and we're there from 8 to 4:30, 5 days a week. Take care of everybody in the southern half of the county.
Good
We
deal.
appreciate that, old
Sure.
Bree. Thank you.
Just continuing to make it better for the residents, Kenny. It's a good
That's right.
job.
Thank you.
No other department head? Sheriff, do you have anything?
Well, our tax collection is going good, and seems like everything else is going pretty good right now, so we're particular at the sheriff's office.
Good deal. Thanks, Mike. All right, comments from magistrates, Greg?
Everything going pretty good. Just got a few complaints from a few people, but we're working on that. So other than that, it's going good.
Roger?
Little update for the ferry. We've had a good summer. Help-wise, we've been able to stay open simply because we've hired a lot of part-time help from people that already had their license and already got jobs. But that's going to slow down because those guys in the wintertime goes back to Florida and to the coast for their full-time jobs that they got there. Some of them on 6 months and off 6 months, so it's been a big help. We still got one guy that's in training and trying to get him in school so he can take the captain's place that's retired. So that's still up in the air. If he doesn't get that license in time, we could have to cut a lot more hours than we've been running. We was able to stay open a couple hours the other night when they had the wreck at the bridge, which was a big help. Stayed busy up to, I think, 8 o'clock when we closed. But that's what we're there for. We have stayed open to midnight when there was a wreck on the interstate and traffic's backed up. And if we got the help, we don't care to do it. And we called him and asked the guy if he'd stay late, and he did. So that was a big help there. Only other thing, fall of the year, I try to remind everybody to unhook their water hoses, because if you don't, you'll do what I did twice.
Twice?
You'll be repairing pipes.
They kind of do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Yeah.
No education kicking that mule twice.
What about that legislation on changing the requirements for them captains on?
They haven't got enough people signed on yet, and we was told from the start that probably if we get that through, it'll be tagged on to another bill. And they're just waiting for that bill to come along.
Bill Ray?
I went to the First Christian Church opening of their new wing there Sunday, and it was a beautiful addition to downtown Richmond, and they recognized the county for our support in that effort, and it really gave a facelift to, as you come into Richmond. It's a really nice addition, and appreciate.
Had a great crowd there.
Great crowd.
But it was nice of them to recognize us. You know, we helped with the bonding issue, and which made it really, it supposedly made it affordable, but they still got a pretty good payment on it.
Then we got our new large animal truck sitting out front out here, and we just,
It's
kinda
already
christened-
gone. It's already gone after a cow.
we took one of them big champagne bottles and christened the dude this morning.
I thought it was a L8 bottle.
Oh, Larry?
Judge, do you think, or Leroy, you think that Allen will ever get all the roads done this year?
Yeah.
They're running close.
They're on track, and then the rural secondaries that were approved, that bid was just let. Now, whether they get them or not, which was like 1016, that was state, the state recommended. But depending on the weather, they're telling Leroy and I they're going to get everything done.
I believe it when I see it, and I hope they do, 'cause
25 should, the latest word on 25 is the third or the last week in November to be totally finished with it.
well, that'd be a blessing when they do.
But it's,
And I mean, it'll be nice when it gets done. It really will be nice. Boy, they broke their feet, but when you don't have competition, you can do whatever you want.
well, it's not that now. It's the utilities held them up about 7 or 8 months.
If you sit out there and watch them, you'll see they need some supervision. Bad.
Anything else?
No, I'm just glad to be here, Jim.
Glad you're here, Larry. Any comments from the audience? Anybody? If not, the next court meeting, they didn't put a date on it, so it'd be the 2 Tuesdays from now.
Also, Judge, we have 3 new cars that are in. They're striped. 2 of them have been brought back today in Carl. They're getting radios put in them. So
Good deal.
they're just about ready to be on the road.
Good, Mike. Okay, motion to pay the claims, approve transfers.
Second.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Let's see, Howard, thank you. Thank you all for coming in. We appreciate it, as always, and a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor?